It will always have the right gear. It downshifts so nice and so smooth that there's never any problems with drivability. It actually makes for a very fun car to drive. So here we're about to merge onto the highway, and if I punch it like that, that's fun. Now the front is where this thing really starts to shine. It gets some very aggressive looks that are not out of place. They're kind of understated aggressive. It looks great from the front profile. There is no shortage of inlets and ducting and stuff, all to give it that kind of aggressive look that makes it a fun looking car. In fact, while we were out driving this car, we've got tons of compliments, tons of people kind of as we drive by waving and giving thumbs up. So it definitely gets the consumer approval from that perspective. It's a unique car to look at, especially in this blue color. It looks great driving down the street. Now, I did promise you guys an engine shot, and there it is. So you can see it's really just hid under a lot of plastic. There's not a lot to see when you pop this open. You can see everything's just hidden underneath there. Surprisingly, a fair amount of space in this front area here actually, which, I mean, it makes sense because this car can come with this 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, or you can get an upgrade to a 3-liter 6-cylinder engine, which I imagine a lot of people would opt for. It's an expensive upgrade, but it adds a lot more performance to this car. But that doesn't mean that this car is a slouch. It's actually pretty impressive when you're driving it. But let's move to the interior, talk about what's inside there, and then we'll do our driving impressions. Moving into the car, there's a lot of neat features that I want to talk about, starting with the wireless key. So most cars have this nowadays. You can just keep it in your pocket and then push start the car just like that. So the first thing you're going to notice is that there's no gauges on the dash. It's just a LCD screen for your entire dash cluster, as well as the giant infotainment screen here. Now, most of your functions are actually available on the screen through a turning dial right here, which allows you to turn and select. It's also a joystick, like you can click the different directions that you want to move to go through all of your settings. But the thing that I really like about this is that there's also physical buttons. You do not have to touch the screen to do anything. There's actual physical tactile buttons. And in a future video, I'm going to tell you guys how automakers are trying to kill people buying their cars by using exclusive touch screens, which are very, very bad news, but we'll cover that better in a different video. There's all your standard features. So you've got seat position memory, you've got power windows, power mirrors, you've got your full headlight cluster, which is just in auto mode all of the time. You've got lots of buttons on the steering wheel to handle your cruise control and your infotainment control. So you've got all of that available. There's also these fake simulated paddle shifters, and then your standard window wipers. And this BMW does come with signal lights, but you're probably not going to use them because you are driving a BMW, but they are there in case you wanted to, give it a try. Dual zone climate control, which again has tactile buttons to set, which is awesome. And then it does have cup holders, which are hidden right here. You push this button and it will open up the flap, which is a pro and a con, and we're going to talk about the cons on this car at the end of the video, because this car does have a lot of downsides that you wouldn't immediately notice until you start driving and using the car. One nice thing is you have 3 modes. So you have sport mode, and then within sport mode you can go sport plus or individual, so you can fine tune your sport mode. You also know you're in sport mode because the gauge cluster changes its color to like a red and white theme. You also have comfort mode, which is just standard comfort, and again the gauge cluster changes this time to an orange and white screen. And you have Eco Pro mode, which is a fuel efficient setting. The dash will then change to a blue and white, and you also have the ability to configure your Eco mode to your liking. Now, the sorts of settings that you can adjust in your sport mode, when you go to configure individual, you can adjust your steering to be a sport or comfort. You can adjust your engine to be sport, sport plus, and comfort. And your transmission, sport plus, sport, or comfort. The other thing that it does have, which annoys the heck out of me, is the auto engine off. So there is a button here to turn off the auto engine off. It's quite annoying. Every time you come to a light, the engine shuts off, and then when you want to go again, it starts up as you drive away. And I'm going to talk about that while we do our driving impression, because it's paired up with something else that really makes it extra annoying. The power convertible roof is actually fully power. You can drop it or raise it at up to 50 kilometers an hour and it'll lock down. So it's actually quite handy, especially if you're driving around with the top down. You get to where you want to go, and you're about to park the car, you want to lock it all up. So I'll often just raise the roof as I'm pulling into the parking lot so that we're ready to go, save a little bit of time. And then here's the roof going back down in full retract mode. Again, it's all one touch. It just lifts the little flaps, drops it, and then drops the flaps back down. Now that we've walked around all of the features, it's time to go for a drive and talk about how this thing actually drives on the road, and wrap it all up with my final impressions. Before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. So the first thing you'll notice when you get in the car is just how low it is. This is a very, very low car, and if you're an old man like myself, getting in and out starts to become a bit of a challenge. However, once you're in, the seat is adjustable in a lot of different ways, so you can get yourself comfortable. It is very comfortable to get in and fit into the car. However, it is quite small and tight. So for a big car, for a small car, it is quite small inside. So for one person, it's fine. However, if you're traveling with two people, like myself, you start to find out there's nowhere for bodies to be. For example, if I open this up, this is my cup holder here. It's a weird place for the cup holder. So it's way back here. It's kind of accident inducing, and you'll see my passenger I can flip this down so that I can still rest my arm on here and use the cup holders, but the passenger cannot. Now, I spent some time as a passenger in this car while my wife drove, and there was nowhere for my arm to go. So I ended up in this weird position with one arm kind of hanging out the window and the other arm really had nowhere to go. So the most comfortable way to sit was like this in my lap with my hands just kind of tucked in. My goodness. So that brings up the acceleration. The car is actually quite smooth. This is the 2-liter turbo version, so it makes about 255 horsepower, and stepping on the gas, it goes. It definitely accelerates nicely. The 8-speed transmission, it always finds the right gear. It doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, it will always have the right gear. It downshifts so nice and so smooth that there's never any problems with drivability. It actually makes for a very fun car to drive. So here we're about to merge onto the highway, and if I punch it like that, that's fun. It accelerates nice, it pulls smooth. The one thing to note is that it actually plays engine sounds through the back speakers, so it sounds like the engine's really exciting when really they're playing engine noises through the speakers. It feels a bit cheap, but after I've been driving it, even though I know it does that, I don't even care. It sounds cool still, so it's fine for me. Overall, as far as like a driving car, this is a fun car to drive. The thing is, a lot of other people have said that it actually sucks on like a track setting. And I would believe that, but it's also not great on the street. It's uncomfortable. It feels like a track car that you're driving on the street, even though you can't drive it on the track. There's a number of other issues I have just with the general functionality of the car. It seems like they didn't think about a lot of things in here, which is surprising for a German car. The other thing is the build. It is a BMW, and if you've seen my other BMW video, there's no such thing as a BMW that is not a project car. And surprisingly, as new as this one is, we actually had a different one rented and it was unavailable at the last minute because it was broken. A 2021 BMW Z4 broken. You know, you'd think if it was older, sure, things break, but a brand new one? That's surprising and a little bit upsetting. And that's why I really have a hard time recommending this car. And that's because this car was actually developed with Toyota so that they could take the platform and use it for the new Supra. So if you're looking at buying yourself a brand new Supra, you will get the same drivetrain as what this car has, the same chassis. Everything's the same except the outer shell. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.